Hey guys, it's Jessica, and today we're gonna do another one of my anti-first impression videos. So I did one of these last month and I focused on 2 months worth of basically first impression type videos, haul type videos, where I was trying a bunch of new makeup, but it really was the first time I was trying it. So this is my way of being able to update all of those videos without missing anything, and just kind of have that follow through for you guys, because this is my job and I do take it seriously, even though I am sometimes silly. So the month we're focusing on today is February. So it is now getting close to the end of April. And so I've had plenty of time to try out all of the products that I was trying for the first time in February. I have a bunch together. I spent a little bit of time earlier this morning just kind of sitting there with all of the products from about 5 or 6 different videos, and I'll have all of the videos I'm referencing down below. Kind of going through all of these products and separating them into what I love, love, love that I would highly recommend, what I think was just kind of okay, you know, it might be perfect for this type of person or this situation, and then ones that I really think are just awful and I wouldn't recommend necessarily, and that I will definitely be decluttering. So there's a lot to get through. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm wearing a lot of this on my face today, and I will definitely show you me applying whatever it is I'm talking about. Also, I'm wearing lashes today. Who do I think I am? This is my very basic eye look, but it instantly like glams it up, and I'm like, it's a rainy day. Like, I just feel like being just a little bit glam today. Just a little bit. So even from this morning as I organized, there were a couple products that I moved from one category to the next because I'm like, actually, so there were a few adjustments. So let's start with the products that I loved. So one that I have fallen in love with is this Josie Maran Vibrancy foundation called the Argan Oil Foundation Fluid, and it has a pump. I think the packaging is so fun and pretty, kind of like a psychedelic. Listen, this is not right for you if you have oily skin. I'm wearing it today, and even for myself, I can't wear a glowy primer under this or I will be a grease ball. So you have to keep in mind that this is an incredibly, incredibly hydrating and dewy foundation that will not look good over other dewy products. So keep that in mind. I today used the next product I'll talk about, this Clarins primer, and it looks beautiful over that primer. So just keep that in mind. I really like it. I wear the shade Supernatural RG10. This is something that I reach for a lot. And it's funny because when I first swatched it, I thought, oh, it's a little too yellow, but it actually is a really good shade match once it's blended in. So love, love, love. Recommend only if you have drier skin. I think you'll really like it. So the next product is this Clarins SOS primer. This is the one in lavender. I know that Rach loves here on YouTube, who I love. You guys were telling me she loves the peach one. I'm like, oh, I never caught that. So that's one I'm kind of thinking about trying, but I'm like, Jessica, no, you don't need it. But I love this line of primers. They're kind of color correcting in a way, but this is one of the only primers that has this slight kind of lavender shade to it that actually corrects the color of my skin. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. When I first tried this in a video, a lot of you guys were like, holy moly, like that actually works. So love this. A concealer that surprised me that over time I grew to really like was this CoverFX Power Play Concealer. To be honest, the first time I used it, I thought, I think it's okay, you know, but the more I've used it, the more I've realized actually it spreads so quickly and easily. It doesn't budge. You can set it, but you don't have to. No matter what, it creases in my fine lines, like every concealer. But I'll set it with powder just like right in this region, and I feel like it flattens that area and it brightens and corrects, and it's really, really pretty. I have the shade P Light 2, and it is a very good shade match for me. So if you want one, and you're near my skin tone, this is it. But this is a line that also has a white concealer, so you could lighten other concealers with it, but it's got nice coverage, and I really have enjoyed it. The L'Oreal Infallible, like fresh wear or full wear, whatever line, has completely blown me away. I loved, I think literally, yeah, every product I tried in my L'Oreal video, I loved and I still love. So this is the foundation so many people talk about. It's a beautiful foundation. Now, this is like the perfect foundation for just normal skin. It's not overly dewy, but it's not super matte. It's right in the middle, but it does wear really well throughout the day. It's one of the few high-end drugstore, regardless, that wears beautifully throughout the day. So I recommend it. It's just pretty on the skin. So on the L'Oreal train, the Shake and Glow Dew Mist, I put this on today, even with that dewy foundation. It's such a light dusting of not glow, but just like life to your skin. It's the lightest sprayer nozzle I've ever used in my life. Every single time I use it, I'm impressed. So I really, really love this. This is so much easier to use than like the Tatcha Dewy Skin Mist. I prefer this over that because you can't screw this up. You're not gonna end up like a grease ball with it. It's so, so beautiful. The Milani Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper Gloss. I have the shade Champagne, which is, I think they're like lightest shade. I put it on top. I have like 3 lip products on today, so it's all kind of, but it's just this gorgeous nudie peach. It is definitely lighter than my own lip color. So I don't always wear this alone. A lot of times I'll put it on top of another gloss. It can kind of lighten the gloss, but it does this thing where after a minute, it kind of melds into the skin, and the skin, you know what I mean? The lip skin. That sounds disgusting, but it kind of melts into your lips and just like becomes one with them. And so it's just comfortable and pretty. It has a slight tingle, like it's plumping. I don't know that it actually is plumping, but it definitely has that little bit of a tingle, nothing crazy. I like that. Okay, but the real winner for lip products from this month was the Sephora Melting Lip Click. I freaking love this thing. It lives in my purse. I had to go fish it out yet again, but it is in the shade Caramel, and it's that you literally click the bottom and it comes up, and it's just this really chill lip color. It's really lightweight, kind of balmy, but it also has like this glossy texture. It's so pretty on its own, and oh, I adore the formula. I adore this shade. I always say I want to get more shades, but I'm like, but honestly, I just like this shade, so why push it? You know what I mean? I need to be better about that. I don't need every shade just because I like that one. You know what I mean? Lip liner line that I think is really good is the NYX Retractable Lip Liner. Now this shade, I was trying out again today, and it's not a good match with what I was using. It's called Pretty in Pink. It's a little brighter, so if you like look really close at my lips, it kind of looks crazy, but I'm like, I wanted to try this shade again, but this line is a very immovable lip liner. So it's really creamy, almost to the point where like bits of it come up if you push too hard, because it's very, very pigmented. But I kind of like that because this stuff does not move. Like once it's on, it's staying there, and it's one of the few lip liners I found that do that. So I really like this line. A kind of chill concealer that I love for just like random days is the Clarins Instant Concealer. This is one of those products that's so lightweight, and yet it does have some, like I'd say medium coverage, but it's so lightweight and comfortable that I can just tap it in different areas on my face, and it's so skin-like. It's so skin-like. So this is never gonna be like my absolute favorite under eye concealer because it is more like emollient, I think it works better at just like brightening up different parts of your face, but I really do like this. But a concealer I do love under the eye is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear. Honestly, it's pretty similar to this CoverFX one. It really is. So they both stay in place really well. They both have good coverage. The L'Oreal one's just way cheaper, and I bet it comes with more product. This comes with 10 milliliters. And this one comes with, oh no, they come with the same amount of product, so joke's on me. But I really like this L'Oreal stuff a lot. It just like completely corrects and it stays there. But it's one of the few that aren't incredibly drying. Like I like that better than the Tarte Shape Tape. So the L'Oreal Longwear Shaping Stick, y'all are telling me it might be discontinued, and I'm heartbroken. If you are fairer skin like me, this is such a pretty like light pink color on the cheeks. You can just stipple it right onto the cheeks and blend it. You can use a brush or a sponge. It's beautiful any way you do it. I've traveled with this. I love it so, so much. It's so, again, because it's not a powder, it just looks more skin-like. And then on my lids today, I have this L'Oreal Chromatic Bronze Pigment. It's a loose pigment. It's in the shade As If, which of course makes me think of Clueless. But I love the packaging. It's a little shaker, but what I do is I just tap my finger right on top where there's already product, and I can just tap it right onto my lid. It's one of those really beautiful, finely milled, glittery pigments. I can wear it alone. I can wear it on top of shadow. Ooh, it's so, so pretty. So 2 other products I loved are these Sephora Pro brushes that I bought. There's an eyeshadow one I got that I love, but it's, I think, like in my dirty pile. That sounds gross. But I got the Pro Core Diffuser number 94. Y'all, this is amazing for blending out cream bronzer. Today I used it with my Milk makeup like stick in the shade Baked, and it blends it so beautifully. I have another Sephora Pro brush that's newer to me that I've also been using that way, and they're dense enough that it really moves that product around. It's beautiful. And then this one was an interesting one. It's the Sephora Angled Diffuser number 60. It's got this kind of angled, because the bristles are so loosely packed, it's dense at the bottom but then looser at the top. It's beautiful for like cream blush or liquid liquid blush. I've used it for cream highlight as well, but because of the shape of this, it's not as easy, whereas with blush, it's perfect. So that's why I've been using it, and I really, really like it. The Sephora Pro brushes are like becoming my absolute favorite brand of brushes ever. I'm slowly but surely acquiring all of them, and I will be buying more probably in the upcoming Sephora VIB sale. All right, I have my biggest grouping of products are my meh, just okay products. So let's talk about those. So one that is okay, and I use this in a lot of different ways, is the Smashbox Cali Contour Kit. Now this was a kit they came out with definitely geared towards lighter skin. And that's why I was so drawn to it, because a lot of the contour kits that are out there are much, much deeper, where I can make some shades work. But this one, I was like, I can really use all of these shades. I think the blush is beautiful. I have a problem with the bronzer and the contour because I think that they end up always looking patchy on my skin. Like I can't get an even blend with them no matter what I'm doing, no matter how I'm doing my makeup. I use this kind of yellowy banana powder under my eye today. It's okay, but it definitely looks powdery. And then the highlights are okay. I took a little bit of this highlight here and I tapped it on top of that glittery pigment just to kind of even things out. And then I actually use this bronzer color here on my lower lash line. You can use it in so many different ways, and that's why I like this. But like I said, I feel like these products up here are so patchy that I don't like using it in the way it was even intended. And so I'm like, ah. So this is one that I'll probably keep for a while because I keep playing with it and I find so many uses for it that it's not getting used, but I don't love it as much as I really, really wanted to love it. This is a product that's actually good. I can't recommend it because of the price point. This is the Lancome Blush Satil Powder Blush in the shade A Plum. It's a beautiful blush. It stays on me all day long. It's kind of this plummy shade. It doesn't swatch great, but it's beautiful on the skin. But because, and I've said this a lot recently, because there are so many good blush formulas at the drugstore, you just don't need to buy blushes like this. You know what I mean? I'll buy them, I'll try them out and share them with you guys, and I can enjoy this and say it is a good blush. But there's just as good of blushes at the drugstore, and that's why I'm like, I can't include this as a favorite because I feel like there are way too many good options out there. You don't need to. Now, if you've got like a Lancome specific gift card, is that a thing? It's a great product, but I hope that makes sense. The product I'm using in my brows today is this Milani, what do they actually call it? Stay Put Brow Sculpting Pencil. It's a, twist up pencil. It's got kind of a flatter edge to it instead of like a little round edge, and it's got a spoolie. This is just too pigmented. It's very, very pigmented. And if that's what you want in your brows, you're gonna love this. But I can use the lightest hand and yet it's still like boom, 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 just so much pigment. And so for that reason, it's hard for me to work with. And I've practiced and practiced and practiced with this, and I'm still no better at it. And that's how I know that, I don't think this is the kind of brow pencil or brow product for me. But if you've got, really, you'd think I'd be a good candidate because I really do completely change the color of my brows. Mine are so naturally light. That's the way I was born. This is my natural hair color, and that was my natural brow color. But it's just too much. It's too much. And I struggle, even still looking at my brows, I'm like, oh, like I can't get that color to move the way I want it to, So for that reason, I can't. It's just, okay. These Revlon little Color Stay eyeshadow palettes, these are good. I don't think they're bad. Like I talked about this one and I was so impressed with how this worked. I used these brighter colors in the Revlon video and I was so impressed with the quality, but I just don't feel like, the more I played around with it, especially like this one, the original one, I used that today and I think it blends just fine, but there's no crazy pigment to the neutral shades they have in a lot of these. And so as I've used them more and more, I've realized, they're good. I don't think they are bad palettes. You're not gonna buy it and be like, oh, what a waste of money. But if you already have a lot of palettes, you definitely don't need to check these out. They're not anything revolutionary. I do think as I play with them more, some of the shades are a little patchier than others, and so you might be disappointed in that. Now, if you're wanting a more inexpensive palette and you want some color, this would be a great thing to buy because I was impressed with the pigment of it. And if you don't want to spend a lot of money on that, this would be a great way to do that. The Clarins Skin Illusion Natural Finish, foundation. I have grown to really like this. However, I have decided that it's really not for everyone. It's a very thin formula. It's light to medium coverage maximum. It's not really buildable, and it's slightly buildable, but it's got a dropper bottle, and then what I've been doing is literally just like rubbing it around on my face with my fingers and then kind of patting it in, and then I might take a sponge or a brush and just kind of blend maybe around my nose or around my hairline to make it look a little more even. It's great for those days that I just want that nice natural light look to my face. I think it works great. It is a little bit yellow for my skin tone. I'm in 100.5 cream. So I like it, but you have to have decent, but if you're trying to cover anything, you will absolutely hate this. You absolutely hate it. I don't like the way this applies with a brush, and that's why I did, you know, since it is so particular and I have to apply it in such a specific way, I didn't want to include it in my loves, even though I do like it, because I do think it's got those caveats to it that don't make it a 100% rec. Rec as in recommendation, not like W-R-E-C-K, what a mess. A product kind of similar to that is the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation. Now this has a little bit more coverage than the Clarins one. I hate the packaging. I know they sell pumps. I just need to get one, I guess, but it just makes me mad that I mean, what era are we living in that this is still a thing? But I'm in the shade Yukon, and that actually is a decent shade match for me. I've discovered in the NARS range, Yukon's pretty darn close. It's one of those, meh is the perfect word for it. I like it. It's got okay coverage. It looks nice on the skin. I don't think the wear time is incredible, and that's one thing that holds me back from using this every day, because the initial finish is really pretty. But after about 5 hours, I'm like, ooh, let me touch this area. You know what I mean? So there you go. Now, the opposite of that, the wear time on this Lancome Tawny Doll Ultra Wear Foundation is insane. It says up to 24 hours, probably. This stuff does not budge, and that's why I like it, but I can't find a good shade match. They have a decent range, and I still can't. This is in the shade number 90 Ivory, and I know when I put this on, I was like, oh, it's too light. But once it blended in, I agree with you guys. It definitely looked a lot better, but it is a little bit too light for me. And so I end up taking this, and it's such high coverage. I end up taking this and mixing it with another one that's maybe lighter coverage, like the NARS. When I've mixed these two together, it's actually a really pretty finish. So that's how I've been using this more than I have been using it alone. And that's why I kind of put it in the matte. I think it's too high of coverage for what I need. And I feel like it stifles my skin a little bit. I will say this though, in the realm of full coverage foundations, this is one of the prettiest finishes. So if you need a full coverage foundation and you haven't tried this, I think you'd be impressed, because if that's what you like for every day, then you will like that, because it's probably the best full coverage foundation I've tried. All right, so these NARS, these Revlon Color Stay Endless Glows are okay. I ended up literally mixing all three of these colors today on my hand and then using my little Quo sponge to blend it. And it can look really, really pretty. Kind of a chunkier formula. Not chunky, that's not a thicker formula. And for something like that, that's not really what I like. I like it to be a little bit thinner so it's a little bit more spreadable and fluid. All of that to say, it's not bad, and I think the end look is good. But again, there are better ones out there. I prefer the Wet n Wild little like liquid highlighter they sell better than these, and those are cheaper anyway. This I do like. I applied it to my cheeks today. It's the Revlon Photo Ready Cheek Flushing Tint. I didn't think I would like it. It's like this bright color. It kind of stains, so you gotta work fast. So I'll stipple a little bit of it on the apple of my cheek, and then I'll quickly go in with my sponge and blend it. Or actually today I used that brush, and it works well with that as well. I think it can look really, really pretty, but like I said, you have to work so fast. These Maybelline Made for All lipsticks, this one's in mauve for me. I love their kind of creamy formula, but this mauve looked awful on me. I really didn't like the way it looked, so I'm like, it's funny that the idea is that it's supposed to be, you know, for everyone, because I didn't like this. So there you go. But the formula is nice. So if you find a shade you like, go for it. This Clarins Instant Light Natural Lip Perfector, I put it on my lips in that video, and it's just a little too light for them. And so it kind of looks weird. I would like to try another shade of this. Honestly, when I wait like a minute or two, it, again, kind of like the Milani one, blends in, and then it looks a lot better. But there is definitely that incubation period where, I don't know. So I like the formula. It was kind of comfortable, glossy, but again, it's pricey for what it is. It's pricey for what it is. You can find glosses at the drugstore that are just as pretty like that Milani one and not spend that much money. This is such an odd product to me. It's the Josie Maran Surreal Skin Argan Finishing Balm. So this is odd because it is a thicker product. You gotta like really dig in there, but it like mattifies and like pore fills. Mattifies is the wrong word. But it kind of does. It's very pore filling, but it has this like iridescence to it. It's odd. It's odd. And I haven't, like, I put this all over my face a couple times and I'm like, ugh. I hated the way it looked on my nose. It made my nose look real, it caught the light really weird. I haven't found a way to use this in a way that I really enjoy it. The way that I've used it, that I've liked it the most, was when I really just applied it to like my upper cheek area. But then I'm like, but you're putting it on underneath like foundation and stuff. So it kind of made it glowy, but I'm like, well, I'm gonna give that glow with my highlighter anyway. So is it really worth the extra step when it's not even really fun to use either? You know what I mean? So I don't think this is bad. I'll probably continue to use it a little bit longer and play with it, but this is not something I would ever be like, you need it. Next matte is the Catrice Eye Foundation. This is their waterproof eyeshadow primer in matte. I just don't think this does much. I think it definitely helps, but it's a really, really thin consistency. And so you put it on and blend it out, and it doesn't have much coverage, which is fine. Not all eye primers do. But I also don't feel like it's like super sticky or super like making everything super long wearing. I just said super a lot. It's just okay. I don't think it's terrible, but this is never gonna be something I repurchase. All right, let's talk to products I hated. All right, so let's start with the Morphe. We're gonna go through this fast. I hated these. I'm not the right candidate for these. My skin is normal to dry. I don't know who these are for because I've even heard dry skin people say they didn't like them. The concealer I think is a little more forgivable. These are gonna leave my collection and I won't bat an eye because they're just so wrong for me. It's unbelievable. Super drying, super cakey, gross, but then it would break apart after a few hours on my skin. Concealer, it was okay, but again, very drying, very cakey, just didn't like it. These were just not, I don't know. I didn't like them. They're too glittery. It's these Glow Gelées from Revlon, and they're kind of like that puttyish, liquidy, weird product that's kind of trendy. But they were too glittery. So like for the blush shade, it just didn't look nice on the skin the more I used it, especially throughout the day. And then this one was kind of more highlight shade-y, but it wasn't light enough for me, so I just got no use out of it. So again, those will leave my collection. The CoverGirl Outlast Active, I couldn't stand the smell of. It's like a cucumber. I don't like that smell, so that just has to go. It just has to go. And then this Josie Maran Stinging like Lip Plumper Balm. It is the most pain I've ever felt on my lips, ever. And this was not cheap. It's got a little bit of color. It's a balm. And it literally, it's not like a pleasant, like, oh, minty tingle, which I enjoy. No. This is like pain. I've never in my life tried products, so this is gonna go too, and I'm glad to see it go. So, wow, I know that video was long. I try to go through things quickly, but still get my points across. So if you enjoyed this style of video, these anti-first impressions that I'm doing each month, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up and comment below with maybe what was out of these products the one that you think, okay, I think I'm actually gonna go out and try that product. Or maybe what was one that maybe I tried it and liked it and you didn't like. I'm just curious about all of that because we all are so different in what we like, what we want on our skin, what the finished look looks like, what the application method's like, or even just our skin type. So I'm curious about your thoughts on all of these products. Leave them down below, and I hope you'll subscribe before you leave so you can catch more beauty and lifestyle videos, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Bye.